Pluto in the very last degree of Capricorn, Capricorn 30. And then on the 23rd of March, it will be going into Aquarius. So here we have the very, very last taste of Capricorn before it goes into Aquarius. Now it's true it goes back into Capricorn later, but I think we have to understand that Pluto in any sign makes a huge difference to what's happening socially in geopolitical terms as well as everything else. And this is very definitely pointing to that principle of goings on behind the scenes. Capricorn 30, a secret business conference. The highest level of social influence. Great power comes when we can see what others do not see. We can grasp opportunity, avoid calamity and inconvenience, influence people, and make sound decisions for ourselves. A group of highly awakened individuals together form the ruling executive power over world affairs, notwithstanding the rise and fall of political factions, nations, and economic blocs. These can see what the masses do not see. Two sides must exist of this phenomenon. The dark aspect is revealed as a satanic elite that selfishly controls the wealth and laws of the world. There is also a hierarchy of light beings, equally powerful, yet focused on keeping open the path to freedom and complete realization. We need to choose which group to offer our attention. Very controversial topic. Conspiracy theorists really ram it down our throats that there's this secret elite that do horrible things behind closed doors and they manipulate governments and the march of history. Well, that does seem likely. And yet there's no need for us to give our attention to this. Whatever you give your attention to will be the direction that you move in, and you'll attract that to which you give your attention. Such is magnetism. There is no force greater than the mind, and the mind focuses its force through attention. So if you give your attention to the nasty things in life, that's what you'll attract. There is within Sufism a teaching of the existence of a council of Sufis. It has been called the Conference of the Birds, metaphorically. And we don't really know, those of us outside of the ruling elite, whether this is fiction or myth or explanation or whatever it is. But it is suggested that Sufis tune in at a certain time to each other, not in the same location. They do this at a distance from each other, and they just tune in and they have a conference based on this ability that they have to communicate without proximity and without words. And they make decisions about what to do next, and off they go and do it individually. This is something I think I read in Idris Shah's book, The Sufis. I don't know whether it's true or not. But I do know one thing which must be true. That the world and the cosmos exists in balance. If there were not balance, then there would not be the polarized world that we live in of duality. That's what it means. Duality means balance. And so we must know that should there exist a conspiracy of elite billionaires that make decisions that affect us all on the one hand, then there must exist an equivalent. That must be true. And that equivalent would be a group of loving, caring, wise, spiritual beings of light who can actually direct the course of humanity's evolution through non-accepted means. Mainstream doesn't accept this, but it happens. Magic is real. It's just that it's rare. And the Sufis are magicians, and they do this. They try to make things right in the world. And we can assume that this is going on. We can also assume that during the period when Pluto was in Capricorn, which is now finishing, Capricorn issues have been transformed. It is not only that Pluto acts in a Capricornian way in Capricorn, Pluto, whose fundamental principle might be seen as evolution, evolves Capricorn itself. So subsequent planets acting through Capricorn are acting through a different way in which Capricorn is assimilated into consciousness because of Pluto having transformed it. So the job of Pluto in Capricorn is as much to transform our understandings of Capricornian things as anything else. And the Capricornian things would be to do with social structure, the governance of society in such ways as churches and religions and so on, and governments and institutions and morality on one level, and those kind of things which hold together a civilization into a bound form, a structured form, that then gives it duration. Longevity is to do with long-term social stability, Capricorn. Well, that's changed. That's changed on a fundamental level. The fundament, the root of what we're basing our sense of social structure and security upon has been transformed by Pluto over the last 15 years, shall we say. And we're coming to the end of that now, and here's a conference, a secret business conference on the one hand. On the other hand, an unknown spiritual conference. And also, we can assume that that's going on in our own lives. So this is what Jones focuses on rather more. Interestingly, Capricorn 30, a secret business conference. This is a symbol of the momentary background in human relations as essentially the product of current activities and attitudes, and of a determination to capitalize upon any given situation through effective allegiances among the principal personalities involved. The emphasis here is on man's desire for an inner circle of associates, through whom he may exercise a real control over immediate eventualities, and on this realization that in this fashion he may monopolize the resources of his fellows. The key word is opportunity. When positive, the degree is a gift for clever planning and successful administration in every area of life, and when negative, rampant selfishness and rank exploitation of others. As I've said, most people do focus on the exploitation of others being carried out by governments. Understandable, but not acceptable. We don't really gain much by moaning about the injustices that are being meted upon us. Ever has it been so? This was not different 2,000 years ago, or even longer ago than that. It is the case. It is the nature of reality that we're in a world which is actually externally, on the material level, run by the bad guys. Now there's an important reason for that. Some of us might have read Carlos Castaneda, The Teachings of Don Juan, when he makes the principle of the petty tyrant. And it is suggested that on the road to mastery of sorcery, to become a magician, which means for us to become a creative, capable member of our own lives, to do this at a mastery level, we must put ourselves under a petty tyrant because that's the only way you ever get to grow up fully, by having someone who's got the capability to do you harm. Now that's what we've got here. We've got corrupt governments who do really nasty things behind closed doors. That's the case, I'm sure of it, intuitively. And instead of saying they're wrong to do that, we must stop them, how injured I am by their badness, that self-pity won't get us anywhere. What we have to understand is that we have incarnated into this situation knowingly, by choice. We want this. And work out why you want it on the level of soul. Why did you do this? Why have you put yourself in a situation where a petty tyrant or petty tyrants are controlling our lives? And the reason is so that we can actually learn to cope, so that we can develop mastery. And when we can master life under tyranny, then we're free. That's how we gain freedom. Not by running away, but by facing them down and saying, whatever you do, I've got a strategy around that question. I can get out of your way. So, how do we get out of their way? Well, we form our own special interest groups, people who are resonant with us, who we feel a heart connection with, whose primary purpose in life is to serve the light. We form those groups. We intend those groups to become powerful in the world and to do good things in the world. And we focus on the secret of it. What develops the power of such groups? How do these groups become influential and effective? And we try and work out how to do that within our group. And we keep it private. We don't advertise this generally. We do it in our own way and our own time. And that's because of the power of secrecy. If you act and nobody knows what you're doing, they find it very hard to resist you. One of the biggest things that Adolf Hitler hated in his war in the Second World War was that Winston Churchill got the English people to visualize a wall of light between us and the enemy. And every evening at 9 o'clock, everyone in England would meditate and create a wall of light in the English Channel to surround our island with light. And that was the thing that Hitler hated the most about the English. In other words, the bad guys are aware that the good guys are powerful. So, let's be powerful together. Let's do the job necessary. Let's visualize light. And to do that within a group enhances the power of that exercise exponentially. 2 is so much more than 1. 3, so much more than 2. And if you can get even a group of 7, for example, together, people doing the same thing in a disciplined, clear way with a clear focus, the power of that light is a match for the bad guys.